Hi, I'm Renee, and you are watching Making Potions Blog 6. It has been quite a while since my last blog, and I really apologize for that. I was quite busy with IndieCade, and then I got my normal con flu. Uh, Even with a small convention like IndieCade, I still managed to pick it up, so I guess I have a bad immune system or something. However, due to that length of time, that means that I got a lot done, so I have a lot to share with you guys, which is cool. Yeah. Of course, I'll go over all that stuff momentarily. Starting off with how I have been doing. Um, Going to IndieCade was super, super fun. I met lots of people. I collected many a business card. Look at that. It's a gigantic stack. And I gave away many of my awesome business cards. I would show you what mine look like, but I left them all downstairs and I'm really lazy. So I apologize. I'll show them to you next blog. They're super adorable. Um, I think IndieCade was a really good experience, but I think it was also a lot of more like a vacation for me. So it was really good to see a lot of people and see what other indie developers have been making, to listen to some of the talks, which were really amazing. But overall, I think what it did most for me was give me a chance to get out of the house. Working from home is a little, I don't know, not stressful, but it's tiring in its own way. So just really getting out, seeing some people that I've definitely missed has been awesome. So aside from one of them giving me a cold, it was a great experience. Uh, Also, conventions can be really draining, and I keep forgetting how draining they are. Colds aside, I usually end up sleeping between like 4 and 5 hours a night, and then constantly socializing. I unfortunately decided to do karaoke one of the earlier evenings, and then totally blew out my voice. So I ended up like sleeping basically for the next 2 days after I got back. Again, cold had some effect on that, but so it goes. So I've had since about a week since then to recover, and definitely has helped me. Last week had a little few rough spots. One of the bad sides, I guess, downsides, to seeing how much progress everyone else has made. Means I'm very self-judgmental. But then I put it into perspective, and truthfully, I've made a lot of progress, and I'm ready to do like my base level prototype after I do some debugging. Yeah. So I'm feeling better about that now since I've had time to really think about it and talk to some people. So let me get into what I've been doing. Um, if you recall from last time, my monster didn't have cooldowns on its attack. So I added in the cooldowns, so it doesn't attack you like ridiculously fast on every single update, so every frame. And then I made that so you could adjust that in the scene, so you don't have to go into the code. I've been trying to do that to be designer friendly, even if I might be the only designer that ever gets to work with it. I also added in a check to make sure that it only attacks the main character, because for fun I was putting in multiple monsters and they were kind of killing each other. I also added in shrubs and a few other things just to have more stuff in there, and the monsters were attacking the shrubs, which don't have stats, and that was getting things kind of messed up. I did take Spirit 3004's advice and simplified the potion equip code, which removed repetition in the code and is going to make my life a lot easier when I add in more potions. It's also going to make my life easier when it comes to adding in user customization of which potions are bound to which slots, or when you have more than the potions that you can carry, you can decide which potions you're going to put in and take with you. One of the problems that I noticed when I added in obstacles, however, is that both my potion throw code and my monster movement code are bad. And why they are bad is that they always are calculating where they're supposed to be moving along from their initial point. So, for example, my monster will say, I'm starting here, the girl's in that direction, I'm going to make a hop like this towards her, and then each update does another transition or another transform to position along that path. And when I added in obstacles, I realized that what was happening is if I put obstacles in front of my potion or in front of the creature that's hopping towards me, it would go hit that obstacle for like half a second, and then when the path it was supposed to be following was on the other side of the obstacle, it would just sort of teleport over there and then continue moving. So I figured out a way to fix that, and that's basically I'm going to find the trajectory which I'm supposed to be going straight along and keep my Y uh, differential, my hop part separate, and that way it can hop up and down in place, and it can uh, move in one direction until it reaches the end of its hop, but without it forcing a exact position. It's just like, okay, from where I am now, I have to move this far that way until my hop is over. I haven't added that in yet, but I will, and I'm glad that I solved that issue. I added in a hurt animation for the girl. She just sort of turns red. It's not like the best hurt animation, but it really helps to show when she's being attacked. The monsters do not yet have a hurt animation. I didn't really want to get carried away because I'm sure they're going to have one that's different. I pulled out variables into the inspector from the code. This, again, as I mentioned earlier, makes it easy from a design standpoint. For example, if all of my assets are going to be a lot bigger when I switch over, I just have to scale up some numbers versus going into each file and then scaling up the numbers. So hopefully it'll make everything a much faster transition. And it makes values easier to play with because I can just play with them in the Unity inspector instead of going into the code. Speaking of going into the code, I've actually switched over from using the Unity code thing, whatever it's called, to using Visual Studio tools for Unity. And it's not a big change, but I definitely like the Visual Studio tools for Unity better, so that this has been more pleasant for me. And you'll see what that looks like in just a second. I also added a consumable potion type. So I had a potion behavior in general, um, which controlled how potions moved and things. And that was really cool for potions which you were all going to be throwing. But then I realized that, hey, if I have a health potion, probably don't want to be having to throw it. So I should just be able to consume that. And so I pulled the potion behavior out of the potion prefab that I had, and I now assign that potion behavior within the code when I determine what potion I'm throwing. So I will actually go show you that right now. That just talking at you. Let's see. So here is the potion behavior script for pulling out and putting away the potion. Or throwing the potion here. So this is this, and this is the consumable behavior script here. And instead of having that like giant flight movement thing here, it just has a consumption of said potion, which then triggers the effect on the player instead of on what it collides with specifically or on things around it. And oh my goodness, where did I actually assign that? I would have assigned that, sorry, on, not on the potion manager, put it on the behavior spawn. Yes, this, sorry. um, so the spawn script here has a spawn potion behavior now, which is called with this potion equip, which just checks to see if the potion number is the same as what's active, and if it's not, if it is, it puts it away, and if it's not, it spawns the potion. And here I can say that if the potion ID is 1, then it's a potion 1, and the potion behavior script for it is the normal one, and whereas my potion 2, which is my health potion, has a potion consumable behavior script. Now, you'll notice that I have them named potion 1 and potion 2. That is definitely not ideal. I'm probably going to have to rename them. I might keep the ID, which would be 1, 2, 3, whatever, in the name, but I'm going to add like underscore explosion potion underscore health potion, and that will just make this more understandable instead of just calling them numbers. That's not a good thing. Got to name your variables correctly. That is core to programming. Good variable names. Let's go back to camera. Yeah, camera. So I added the heal effect, so now I have a damage effect, a heal effect, and a knockback effect, which doesn't really work yet, but I need to fix it. It kind of works, which is weird, but not in the way I want it to. And I can show you that that's embarrassing. I did a really cool thing. I'm gonna have to change it due to potion or monster movement, but I added shadows, at least for my blob monster and for my girl, and it makes it look a lot better. Maybe I'm biased on that, but I think it looks great. I'm gonna show you with my monster hop, which calls my move shadow. Let's see, go back to my code. Yeah, cool. Uh, so my ah, my monster has now a shadow on it, and then when it moves, it calls a move shadow, which has the shadow found, and the shadow just moves with the jump arc and with everything else. So that means it has an adorable little shadow, and it makes the game look way better, in my opinion. You'll have to tell me what you think. And let me just switch over to Unity so I can show you how that shadow is attached. If you look at my little blob here, totally has a shadow that belongs to him. And it is just transformed, so it's down here below him, and it's rendered derp. Not the fanciest thing in the world, but hey, it works, and it works nicely. I changed the inputs from what I had in my code directly, so I no longer check to see if you are pressing 1, 2, 3. I check if you're pressing the button which corresponds to those. And I did that through the input. I really have no clue why this headset turns off when I'm recording videos. It never turns itself off normally. I'm having a feeling that it's due to the fact that it's not sure it's actually listening through the mic, and because I'm not having any audio coming in, it just like, all right, I guess you're not using me, and turns off. That sucks. Maybe I will fix that in the future. Maybe I'll have to play music lately for you guys as I'm streaming. All right, back to here. Is this under project settings? Input, yay! So you have your normal fire, and mouse stuff. But I added in bind 1 and bind 2, which are very plainly just my numpad and my normal number row. But that means I can call for bind 1 and bind 2, assign them more alternatives, hopefully, and keep all of my changes for input together. And I believe that also means that if I have setting options where you can change binds, they can just change it through the input manager instead of having to go change the code. I mean, that would be painful. I don't even know if you could, yeah, you could change the code, but it'd be a pain in the ass. Instead, just change in the input manager, everyone's happy, yay! Future proofing. Ooh, so something that was really, really cool and exciting, which I added in here, was if you notice in my singletons, I have an inventory manager. Ooh. And that means that I have loot tables too. Uh, yeah, so here I have a loot table on my blob. My loot table works very much like um my stats do. So it's pretty dumb file overall. Let me see if I can pull that up. Table. Switch over to my codes. Um, I didn't actually switch it over. Loot table. There we go. So you spawn loop by checking to see if the chance that you have for it that happens to match a random value every time you go through the loop. So super simple. The prefab of the loot that it's dropping, the drop chance, and the drop chance is out of 100. So if it's 100, it's 100% drop. Um, and you will see that what my little dude drops here, I believe, are blueberries. Let's go. Ah. Okay. Blob. Loot table. Blueberries. So it has a 100% drop chance to drop a blueberry. If I wanted to add 2 blueberries, whoa, or 21 blueberries, let's go back to 1. Then I can add in a second blueberry here, and maybe it has a 50% drop chance or whatnot. And that will mean it'll always drop 1, and it might drop 2. Half the time it'll drop 2. But for now, we're gonna leave it at 100% here. And let's go check out this inventory manager. So inventory was interesting to add. There was a lot of choices in terms of how I wanted to manage inventory itself. But how I decided to do it was to create 2 structs. One is an item struct that exists for all items in the game, and I can add those in. I might change that part. I might just put it all in the prefabs, but I thought it was better to keep the prefab assigned to the item name, so I can have those values adjusted and pulled out more easily. And then I have an inventory struct, which takes the name, and it has the amount held and the amount home. The amount home is not applicable right now because we don't get to go home. The amount held is how many you're holding while you're in the scene, while you're in the level, and then when you go home, you drop off all of your items at home. This keeps them all in one place though, so if you want to check how many items you have at home, it will be easier to implement that in the game. So I had to make functions to deal with this. One is adding the item to the bag. What it does is it says, hey, do I own this item already at home or in my bag? And if so, it just adds the amount, adds to the amount held. If not, it creates it and adds it with 1 already. I started doing remove item from bag so you can drop it off at home, but that's not super important right now, so that's just fun. I have a placement function right now to determine if the bag is full. I'm not sure how I want to do full inventory. I'm thinking something like you can hold 25 items which all stack to 10 or 20 or something like that. The adjustment of that is going to depend greatly on the feel of the game and how many items I want. So haven't fully decided yet. I also might want to do it as in you can only hold 255 items, pure items, which is very different from holding stacks of items in determining how you want to manage your inventory. So the feel of the game would be very different if you said, oh, I found this really rare thing. I have to drop a stack of 10 lesser things, or I just have to drop 1 lesser thing for the rare thing. Make room. So it makes those judgment calls have different constraints. This is, of course, is a singleton. You guys been over that. So yeah, the last thing that I had to do, and that took way more effort than I thought, was actually picking up items. And uh, the reason that picking up items was difficult was because I wasn't quite sure how to do it most efficiently, and a lot of different sites had a lot of different opinions, and a lot of stuff for Unity is actually written for all the 3D things. So initially I was like, oh, no, I'll use a raycast. Like, raycast works perfectly. And so I was trying to get the hits for it, but it was a raycast 3D, and all of my colliders are 2D, so it wasn't actually hitting anything. And then I tried switching to raycast 2D, and I wasn't getting any results. And during this time, I was like, man, like, I can see the collider on my bushes and other stuff, but I can't really see the collider on my blueberries. Oh, that's weird. And I kind of ignored it, which was really silly of me. I'm like, oh, maybe some weird Unity thing. No, no, I actually had a really, really tiny collider on, and I just forgot scaling. Um, so it ended up that I was trying to debug by clicking on something that had a clicking box of like this big, a collider. So I spent too much time debugging that. I eventually was going over the code with a friend, and he pointed out, hey, your collider looks super tiny. So we adjusted the collider, and what do you know? I could pick up items. So that aside, let me show you how that's going. Picking up items and stuff. All right, girl, run around. I also buffed up the monster a little. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Die, 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 die. Aha! And he dropped blueberries! How great. Um, so in my inventory now, I can pick them up. This is actually be hard to see without debug, never mind. But, yay. Did I actually not change the collider size on this? I'm gonna feel silly. Nope, I did. Um, I was not clicking on it. I picked it up, trying to pick up blueberries, added to inventory blueberry. Yay! And I guess, oh yes, all these nulls are for the fact that I'm clicking on backgrounds. Oh well, trying to pick up shrub. You can't pick up shrubs, you silly game. Can I try to pick up myself? Try to pick up girl! Okay, sorry, I haven't done this before. That is hilarious. She's like grabbing on her own leg, like, oh god, I can't pick it up. I know I didn't show you heals previously, so I'm gonna let her get damaged, so you can see her taking a hit. Oh no, help me! Oh, ow! Okay, so she got hit. And you can see her hit points are down to 65, but oh look at this health potion, up to 90, and I have that max hit point thing set in, so up to 100, so she doesn't over heal. And then I'll show you. Oh, damn it. The one bad thing about my knockback, you can see that it doesn't knock him back, but if I stand too close to him and click it, now I'm just, wait, ah. So sometimes it implements the force on me or something, and my character just starts slowly drifting. So now I'm not sure why the force is being applied when it's not, but strangeness. Anyway, that's it. That's my current progress. I hope this wasn't too long. It was great talking to you guys. I'm really sorry that I didn't make this blog earlier. However, this is actually a really big load off of my chest because now I can make a lot more changes and not feel bad about the fact I have to talk your brains off for almost 25 minutes. Yes, talk your brains off, not your ears off. I just determined that now. Calcifer says hi. He's been keeping me company this entire video. Say hi, Calcifer. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope to check back with you guys by the end of the week. I will have guests here for an entire 10 days starting this Friday, so I'm not sure about my availability to make videos during that time. I hope I can have I will have one video before Friday. I hope I can have another one before Halloween. Maybe we'll do some crazy costume thing. Thanks for checking in. Watch me bug fix everything. this next video. Uh, so yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day.